Hey guys, it's Josh here and welcome back to another speed build video. So today we're building a simple industrial home. I was actually planning on getting this out to you guys last weekend, but I just had no time since university assignments, you know the deal. But they're all done now, so I finally have some time to share this with you guys, so I hope you enjoy it. Basically, this house is a 3-bedroom home, one being a master bedroom and the other 2 being spare bedrooms with double beds in them, so this could potentially fit in 6 people, so that's really a pretty decent sized house. Generally my houses are really small, but I'm really happy that I was able to just build a decently sized house for a decent sized family, because obviously you can swap out the furniture and easily transform one of the bedrooms into a kid's bedroom, and it's definitely big enough for that because there is obviously double beds in them, so they're pretty sizable. They're not the biggest bedrooms because, as I've said in previous build videos, I noticed that half the time my bedrooms are really big, which is the main reason why my houses end up being like 1 or 2 bedrooms usually, but I've been trying to just keep them small depending on the type of house I'm building, just so I can increase the number of bedrooms. But anyway, apart from that, there's also an open plan living, dining and kitchen space in the main area of the house, which is actually the back, which is kind of interesting because generally I try to make my houses have the main area at the front of the house, and then upstairs and to the back would be where the bedrooms and secondary living spaces would be. But the closest part of the house to the road is actually the entrance area and the bedrooms, because, well, not the bedrooms, the master bedroom and living space, which is actually upstairs. So this house also does have a secondary living space, which is upstairs. I really like doing upstairs living areas or secondary living areas because I just like the idea that when you have guests over, you would use the main living space in the open plan area, and if there's guests over that want to watch a specific TV channel or something, they could watch it up there, and someone that actually lives in the house could obviously just go upstairs and watch some other thing that they want to watch if they don't want to watch what's on the main television, because obviously guests definitely come first, so they get to watch what they want, and someone else that lives in the house could watch what they want upstairs. And also outside there's a outdoor entertainment area, so there's the city living fireplace coffee table. I don't know what they're called, but it's the coffee table with basically a fireplace on it. And then there's also a barbecue, I believe, and a table and chair set, and then there's also actually a pool as well, so there's a lot of space for guests if your Sims love to have parties. I'm just gonna say that right now. And as you can see right now, the house is kind of split off into 2 to create this kind of upside down L shape. The main entrance is actually just this art gallery kind of place, so it's just really empty and generic. But then there's a staircase upwards which leads onto the upstairs lounge and master bedroom. But if you keep going straight ahead, you end up in a corridor space which is with the 2 other bedrooms, the bathroom, and obviously the main open plan living, dining and kitchen space. But there's also this secondary entrance area, as you can see, in the really thin connection between the 2 main parts of the building, which I guess you can also set as front door. And another cool thing I decided to do for the exterior was make this sort of kind of split level terrain, which I think turned out pretty cool in the end. When you go up to the house, you actually have to go up a little hill with that's also held up by a retaining wall in some areas, so basically the roofs become the retaining walls. It was a little bit fiddly to get right because if you change a wall in the house, it actually deletes the roof, so I kind of had to shift and kind of lay out the house before I finalized the terrain tools, because as you can see the roof has already basically disappeared, but it's replaced. But anyway, I think that's basically all there is to see for the exterior. At the start at least, we do come back to finish it later on down the line, but for the most part this is basically the exterior build stuff. So we'll just jump straight inside to the kitchen. So basically for the kitchen, what I wanted was this really dark colored kitchen, because obviously industrial homes are generally, well, at least from what I've seen, industrial homes are generally timber tones and usually blacks as well. So, and apart from that there'd be the red from the bricks usually, but this house does not have as much exposed brick as I wanted to. This does use, I believe, the fitness stuff masonry bricks. It's not really the traditional shaped bricks, it's really stylized and decorative, which I think turned out pretty cool in the end, but because obviously from the exterior this house does not actually have exposed brick or anything, it actually does use a lot of wooden paneling, so it would kind of like not really make much sense to have brick, but I ended up using a little bit of like render / concrete and also some like stylized exposed brick, as you can see right now. So it kind of like doesn't make much sense in some way depending on how you look at it, but I like how it looked, and it looks a lot better than using regular exposed brick, because if I did use the regular exposed brick, I think that it would just look really out of place, since obviously the exterior of this house, although it is like somewhat industrial, it's not completely industrial in the sense that it's like an old warehouse or there's a lot of visible brick. It's kind of just wooden paneling, so that's just basically why I chose a more like modern looking brick instead. But anyway, the kitchen's done, the dining table area is done. I think I do change the table in the end though, because it is a little bit grungy for the look I was going for, since although this is an industrial home, as I just said earlier, I wanted this to be somewhat modern as well, because I just love modern houses. At the start, I was planning on making this some kind of like really grungy, like kind of messy industrial themed home, but it just morphed into a modern home. I just could not help it. I'm so sorry. I might build a I'm not a modern house. I might build an industrial home that's not modern in the future, that's like more towards like the kind of industrial warehouse kind of build, like, you know, like the old salt house in San Myshuno. I was thinking of doing something like that in the future. Like, it won't be the old salt house, but it will be something similar to that, where it's like an old warehouse that turns into a house. It also might take inspiration from the party house from Winterberg, because that's pretty like warehouse industrial as well, although there's this really like bright colors in there as well. So maybe I could like take a bit from both worlds and like combine them into like an industrial themed build, which I think might turn out quite interesting, but I'll talk about that more later, since I am not talking over this build like I should be. But anyway, the main bathroom is done and we are working on the ensuite now. I think the ensuite does get a little bit changed further down the line, because it is a really big bathroom, but I didn't want to place a bath down. Generally, ensuites are pretty small compared to the main bathroom, and it just didn't really make so much sense to me that the ensuite would be bigger than the main bathroom, so I decided to not place down a bath, just to emphasize the fact that it's not a full main bathroom, and I tried to make it look smaller than the main bathroom as well. But anyway, we're placing down the beds quickly. I chose the beds that I did because there weren't really many other options for industrial bedrooms, like the city living one with like the frame around it. I'm pretty sure that's quite industrial, because an industrial house generally has a lot of like beams and like structural elements to it. Like there could be a roof with like beams and stuff going across the top, or there could be like columns here and there. So I just thought that this bed really had the industrial element to it, but obviously I don't really want to be using that bed for every single bedroom, so I had to pick other ones as well. So for the secondary bedroom, well, for the secondary bedroom, I did just pick the simple base game bed with like the simple wooden frame, and I kept the color scheme light. So the bedroom next door has like a darker timber color scheme, this bedroom has the lighter timber color scheme, and the master bedroom ends up having like this bluish color scheme, I believe. As I just said, I don't fully remember this build, but it'll all come back to me slowly, hopefully. But for the most part, the bedrooms are fairly unique to each other, because as I always say, I do like keeping my bedrooms unique to one another instead of building like these like carbon copy bedrooms. And as you saw, I was trying to make this like the third floor balcony like kind of thing on top of the roof. Like I wanted to build like an outdoor living space on the top of the house, but I just don't know how I would have done that, since I didn't really like the look of having this really big box that houses like the staircase area, just to keep it in the interior and make sure the weather doesn't get inside. But that didn't really look right, so I ended up just like having the top area just non-accessible. But I guess there are ways around that, but for this speed build I decided to keep it non-accessible. But there's obviously enough room as well if you guys wanted to add a staircase, since there's that one tile gap between the staircase and the main area, so you can easily place back the stair that I tried to place down, basically. But anyway, upstairs area, yep, it is becoming I think it's actually white and it's light colored still, so maybe I did scrap the blue idea, but I remember now. Basically, this uses that Get Famous bed, as you can see right now, and has this really light colored white and light brown color scheme to it. So it's similar to one of the secondary bedrooms, but obviously it's not the same, since I did try and use different bed, because I don't want to have same bedrooms. And this also does have like a kind of walk-in robe. I don't know, like, it's like the first time I tried to do something like that, so it may look a little bit odd, but I found it quite interesting. And now we're basically moving on to the clutter very soon, at least, and I feel like maybe I do not change the counters back to a black, but I feel like looking back now, I feel like black looked a lot better. So maybe if you guys like, you could change it back to black. I may or may not change it back to black for the screenshots and to upload it, but I might just keep it as grey, since that's what it is in the speed build and it won't be misleading that way. But obviously black is another option if you guys download this house and wish to, I guess, make it look a little bit more industrial than it is right now, since looking back at it now, it doesn't really look that industrial when it's a grey, and I feel like it looks a lot better when it's black, to be honest. I don't know why I didn't change it back. But anyway, we are working on the main entrance area now. As you can see, there's the coat hanger and whatnot, and there's also some artwork that goes down as well. So this is just kind of a really decorative room. There isn't much like functionality in it. Obviously, you can probably place like an armchair down and like have a little like tea area, I guess, or a coffee area. But for the most part, this is just a really simple room just to like show off like the artworks that your sim may have created or may have found. So you could easily like replace all the paintings with sims, or with paintings that your sims painted, which is a cool idea. And we are just placing the exterior lights real quick, because I don't know why, but very shortly we do go back inside and place the clutter before we finish off with the outside decorations. Anyway, we're working on the interior clutter now before we jump straight outside to start furnishing the exteriors. But what I wanted to do was keep the clutter somewhat to a minimum, since this is a really, I guess, in a way it's a luxury home. I wouldn't call this like a luxury villa or anything like that, but it's just a nice home for a like considerably wealthy family, since I'm pretty sure this house ends up being like 120,000 simoleons or something like that. So obviously the sims living here are quite well off, so they'd at least have like the decency to somewhat keep the house in a really neat state. So I just kept the clutter somewhat simple. I feel like building a house now where it's really messy and like it's like a low class kind of house where it's a lot of mess, a lot of clutter, a lot of like boxes and this, that, and like just a lot of clutter. That's a really cool idea for later. But anyway, we're working on the bathrooms now, and for some reason I just thought of building like this simple shelf space with like the bathroom oils and stuff. I just felt like that was a really cool idea. And there's also some books for your sims to read. I don't know how like safe that is. Like the books could end up like getting wet, or they could literally just fall into the water. So your sims better be careful if they want to read a book in the bath. I really actually like how this specific bedroom turned out. Like I really like the grey and dark brown color scheme, and I don't think I've really ever used those City being really big artworks before, so it was actually a lot of fun to use, and I think it turned out pretty cool. Like the color schemes match the room perfectly, so I was really happy with that. And this bedroom was pretty cool as well. This is slightly a more like technologically oriented room, and it's a little bit more luxury if you ask me. So there's that little like breakfast table for your sims to use if they want to like eat and have some fruit while they watch the television, which is also on the wall. But one thing I wish Sims could do in The Sims 4 was relax on the bed. Remember when Sims could relax on the bed and basically like, they basically lie on the bed, but they can like read a book or watch TV or something like that? How amazing was that? I wish we could get that in The Sims 4, because the animation exists. Like when if your Sims are sleeping and you get them to take a nap while they're in the bed and they wake up, sometimes they don't actually get out of the bed and actually just like relax there for a few moments before they start napping. Like, if the animation is there, can't they just make that an actual interaction? Like, that would have been so amazing and so cool, but nope. But anyway, this room is slightly more green, as you can tell. That green idea came a little bit later because obviously, as you can see, I just added them in right now, but I think I really like how it turned out. It's not too green, but there is the green rug, the green artworks, and there's also the green like bench, which I think looks pretty cool. But anyway, for the most part, that's essentially the ground floor complete. There is a little bit more that will go in, but you'll definitely get to see those in the screenshots. So let's just jump straight upstairs to the cluttering upstairs before we go outside. So we are basically just finishing off the upstairs area now. The secondary lounge room and the master bedroom gets a little bit of clutter. I actually really like the simplicity of this upstairs living area. Like, it's not too crazy or anything like that, and I don't know why, but I've started using like the base game sofas a lot recently because it's just so simple, and there isn't many other couches in the game that have as many swatches as these base game ones do. So it's really versatile, and it's really simple. Like, it's not over the top, and it just fits the industrial theme, if you ask me, because there isn't like the other couches in the game, like the laundry day ones, like that's not really industrial, that's really rustic. The Get Famous ones are really bougie and mid-century, but there isn't really anything else that's like really industrial. I guess the ones from City Living, like the really weird ones with lots of curves, that could fit in a little bit, but there is no like, I don't believe there's a love seat option, so I just really like the simple one, to be honest. Like, sometimes less is more, and that's definitely the case with these couches, so that's basically why I picked them in the end. But anyway, the cluttering for the upstairs areas are basically done now, I believe. There are curtains that go down at the very end, since obviously you don't really want to like be exposed to the public. Excuse me, privacy please. But for the moment, there's no curtains there, but be assured there will be curtains that go in there in the end. But anyway, I think we're basically done to go outside. We're basically ready to go outside. We are finally outside now, and there is a lot of things that need to be done before this house is complete. So obviously there's the furnishings as per usual, but apart from that, a lot of landscaping has to be done. Like, this lot is fairly big. I generally try and like keep away from big lots usually, because that just means you have to either build a really big house, which would require a lot of clutter and a lot of furnishing time, or build a regular sized house and do a lot of landscaping. So this is a big lot, fairly like smallish house. So this does have a lot of landscaping and a lot of little ideas that I had just randomly while building. So I really like how it turned out in the end. So there's this really nice upstairs, like kind of succulent garden, I guess. I don't know why, but on Twitter at least, everyone has been obsessed with succulents lately, and everyone's desire for more succulents in the game, like the plants. And I agree with them. Like, I kind of wish there were like more plants in general, because there's a lot of like trees, a lot of flowers, but I kind of just want more just regular plants that don't have flowers. So there's like a few more bushes or something, and obviously some succulents and stuff. I know some succulents have flowers as well though, but basically those two that you see right now are basically the two options, and there's basically just retextures of them for the Jungle Adventure one, which is like a lot more like jungle colored. So it's a really brighter green, or a lot more vibrant green, which obviously wouldn't fit in here because this is not a jungle or anything like that. But anyway, as you can see right now, we're working on the pool area, and it's surrounded by bushes. I do believe those do stay, and there's obviously a lot of trees as well for some shade, but I was going to place down a carport, or not really a carport, like a car area, but I just didn't really like how it turned out, and it wouldn't be functional or anything like that, so I just scrapped that, and I ended up putting like some fenced off gardens as well. So I think that happens a bit later though. So before that, on the side of the house, there's a little bit of a bamboo garden, which I think looks pretty cool, just to like add to the side of the house, since at the moment, as you can see, the right side of the house is basically empty. So I do put some not grass, I do put some bamboo there, but I guess grass is correct, since I believe bamboo is a grass, or technically is a grass. So yeah, that's a little fact for you if you didn't know. but I think actually the gardens I do these front gardens before the bamboo gardens, but I was gonna try and like use these by debug things to build like a curved garden bed, but I didn't really think that would have worked since this really wasn't a curved area. It was just like this triangular space, so I did build a kind of like a more triangular area with the fences instead. I just kind of like how the two garden beds kind of like direct you towards the footpath, so like you walk down the left and then you walk upwards, and the two gardens kind of like point you towards the stepping stones. I don't really know how to explain it, but anyway, we are working on the bamboo garden now. It's nothing too like extraordinary. It's just a simple bamboo garden, a few succulents. Actually no succulents, but a bamboo garden, a small statue, and yeah, I think I put a light down, I think. But anyway, that's basically all there is to this speed build. If you'd like to find this on the gallery, it will be up as industrial home. Also, there will be screenshots at the very end of this speed build, so if you'd like to see those, definitely stay tuned. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the rest of the video, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye guys!